Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. You know what? I've never done the triple threat evening thing before. It doesn't roll off the tongue like morning, morning, morning. Should have done the welcomes. Never mind. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? It is Sunday. It is the 2022 version of July the 30th, and you are back here with me and the Bugsy. And we're out, having just watched the Lionesses do something that the Lions haven't done in over 5 decades. And that is, first of all, win a trophy. Interesting talking about winning trophies after all what's going to happen this week. But they've won a trophy and they've beaten the Germans in a final or in a major competition. Doesn't happen too often, does it, with England against Germany? But they did it, and my word, what an achievement. Fantastic. Fantastic for them, fantastic for the sport, fantastic for, you know, the growth of women's football in England. Just amazing. You know, I think there's going to be a whole new generation of kids, of young girls that are going to grow up, that are going to ask for a pair of football boots for their birthday rather than, you know, something else that they would have otherwise asked for had the Lionesses not gone on this ridiculously brilliant run and achieved what they've achieved. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to all those people that have fallen in love with women's football over the last however long. I've got to say, it's not something I've watched a lot of, but I have got into this tournament, and I'll certainly be keeping an eye on it more and more, because I think that the quality of the game is definitely improving dramatically. So well done, fantastic. Couldn't be happier. Which isn't something I could easily or necessarily say about how I felt that Tottenham did yesterday, guys. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes getting that off my chest, because, you know, you need a bit of time to reflect after the game. And it's not, I'm going to caveat everything I'm about to say with let's go back, Bugs. With the fact that I understand that it's a friendly, and I understand it doesn't matter, the result doesn't matter. But I don't think it's irrelevant. I think you have to look at the performances of certain players, look at the formation, and also take insights and make inferences from what we saw from the starting 11 that played the first 45 minutes. And then there was only 2 substitutes at half time, or just after half time, I forget when it exactly happened. And then those 13 players were the only players that saw football until about the 75th minute, or something like that. And so I think you have to, let's start with that, right? You have to make the assumption that Matt Doherty is going to start on the weekend, and that Emerson Royale will be second choice. Jed Spence didn't kick a ball. And so ultimately that means, if you go with me on this one, ultimately that means that we haven't improved on the right wing back spot, which everybody knew was a massive area for concern. And yesterday we were woeful on the right. Not so bad on the left, and we'll come to that in a second, but on the right we were pretty ropey going forward. There was nothing. I thought Doherty was poor. I think he's really poor, actually. I just didn't see. Kulusevski tried. I think he tried to get involved, but he wasn't really up for it. I was going to actually stay up the top for a minute. I thought Sonny and Kane were anonymous and dreadful yesterday. I thought they were just gobbled up by a very solid Roma, very organised and strong defence. Typical Jose Mourinho sort of side. Grab the early goal and then stay stubborn and resilient and dogged at the back. And Harry Kane and Sonny and Kulusevski didn't have any answers. Didn't have a shot on goal, did we? So, or shot on target rather. Didn't have a shot on target. So pretty poor. And look, I don't know how you would position Roma, where you think Roma would finish if they were in the Premier League. But they'll be a top half team, right? They're a good team, well organised. But that's the sort of team that you're going to come up against when you come up against low block or tight teams. They're not always low block when we struggle. We always kind of say we struggle against low block teams. It's not always low block. It's just organised when they off the ball. Like they get back into banks of 5 and then a 5-3-2 or a 5-4-1 and make it really narrow and restrictive. And Roma did that really well yesterday, and we had nothing coming from the right. So I also think I'm not going to take too much away from Harry Kane or Sonny's poor performances, because at the end of the day we know that they're great, right? We know that they're brilliant. So there's nothing we haven't learned anything from them, or there's no reason to be worried about them. But as a team performance, we were hoping that these signings were going to help us figure out how to grab points against the stubborn teams. And yesterday was a failure in that observation, that exercise. So I'm worried. I am worried. I'm also a little bit underwhelmed by Bissouma, I'll be honest. I think he did a couple of bits in the latter stages of the first half that were okay, that looked tidy. But generally I thought he was fairly anonymous, especially in the first 35 minutes. Was unimpressed with him. Don't think he's found any chemistry with Højbjerg yet. I don't. And for me, Bentancur always makes me feel more comfortable. Always has, always will, I think. For me, Bentancur should be the number one name on the midfield too. And then it's a decision. Until form changes that, it's a decision of whether you play Højbjerg next to him or Bissouma. I would probably like to see Bentancur and Bissouma, and I would have wanted to have seen those two play together for longer periods of time than they have over the last 3 games. And it surprises me that duo wasn't tested with more minutes than was given to them. Because I do think that's probably where you're going to get the most value. I would think so. But let me know what your thoughts are. I wasn't that impressed with the midfield. On the left, I thought Perisic looked good, busy. I like him. You know what I liked more about him though? He was always engaged. Like when balls were getting pinged to him and he missed it, or he went out for throw-ins or whatever, he would always turn around and applaud the effort of the player that made the pass. Or when he'd go and get the ball and try and throw it back in, he was always he looked busy, he looked energetic, he looked like he was really engaged in the game. And I think that is something that's quite infectious. And so I'm happy that I've seen that in him. I like that about him. It's like an intangible, but I'm not sure what word you would use to describe it. Passion for the game, engagement, whatever. But I was really pleased. I was happy to see that. And then we move to the back, and there's three observations there, right? First of all, you've got Christian Romero. Just gets better and better and better and better every game. His timing of his tackles are just on point. He's aggressive, decisive, and accurate with his ridiculously strong challenges. And no player wants a piece of that, And even the ones that wound him up at the start of the game, they all left the pitch with sore bodies and the feeling of losing the battle. Even though they won the war in the game, they lost the battle with Romero. I forget the guy, was it Pellegrini who got the blood on his face? You saw Zaniolo get taken out. Christian Romero is just phenomenally aggressive, and for me, not only there's two parts to that, right? One part of it is, I think, that kind of energy, that kind of behaviour can become a game changer, a momentum shift in a game when you are struggling, in a feisty game against a London club, a derby, or against a big team, if you're on the back foot, if you're not really having it your way, and the crowd maybe are starting to get frustrated, and then he steps up and does one of those challenges and nails it, that's the sort of thing that can just flip a game on its head. It can turn off the other team. It can throw out the victim of that aggression can be completely thrown off the game altogether, but everybody else can feed off of it. And I think it's just a wonderful thing that he does. It's brilliant, but it only works as long as he is accurate. And I think that whilst he is getting better and better and better with his accuracy, his timing is sublime. I think we have to acknowledge that it's not always going to work out that way. At some point, he's going to make a mistake. He's going to mistime it, and he'll probably get sent off one time, maybe 2 times a season. And depending on the style of the sending off, that could mean not only costing us the game when it happens, but also his absence for 1, 2 or 3 games afterwards. So I hope it doesn't happen, or I hope if it does happen, it happens incredibly infrequently, but I do think it will happen. And it's a double-edged sword, right, with him. He is that kind of player, and it's fantastic, but there's that risk that it's going to spill over into negative outcomes on the odd occasion. And so for that reason, I think it's imperative that we have somebody who is in our bench who can step up into the right-sided centre-back when those things happen. And Sanchez, I think, is the guy for that, right? I think Sanchez is good enough. I think Sanchez had a good game yesterday. But what I'm worried about is that Ben Davies is out injured and Sanchez played 60 minutes, or whatever it was, 70 minutes at left-sided centre-back. Now, was that because Clement Lenglet's not fit enough, not ready, whatever? I don't know. But I thought Sanchez had a good game. I'm not going to take it away from him. But we've seen enough times that when he's playing on the left, he can get turned inside and out because he's very one-footed. And when he gets turned, he ends up trying to tackle with the wrong foot. And so it's not something that I'm comfortable with him being our utility defender who can play anywhere. I don't want that when one of the main 3 are out. And for what it's worth, I thought Clement Lenglet, when he came on, was brilliant. I thought he looked really good. I'm really glad to see that all of the stats that we focused on when we were doing our review, and we called out the fact that his progressive carries, his ball carrying into the final third, his crossing and his passes were his strongest assets. And yesterday we saw that. Yesterday he carried the ball 3 or 4 times at pace into the opposition area, put a couple of decent balls in as well, and linked up quite well with Sessegnon. Bugsy, let's go. I don't think he had any minutes with Perisic. He might have done, I forget now, but either way, I was really impressed with Lenglet. I thought he was a really good I thought his first set of major minutes, 20-30 minutes, I thought, well done. Good second debut, if that's even a thing. Good second appearance. But I'll be honest, guys, I'm starting to get worried about Hugo Lloris. Flappy, behaviour in the first 30 seconds of the game that could have cost the goal again immediately. And didn't think he did a fantastic job with the goal either. A lot of people have been reaching out to me, non-Tottenham fans, saying you need a better goalkeeper. And 2 years ago, Hugo Lloris was one of the best goalkeepers in the league, if not the best goalkeeper in the league statistically. But I think he's just going downhill a little bit, and I'm a little bit worried about him. But at least we've got Foster in, who can hopefully come in and do some good work should we need him to. But guys, I've got to be honest, right? I've got to be honest with you. I'm sounding quite glass half empty, I guess. I'm trying to be positive about it. I can't wait for Saturday. I think we're going to win. However, I just feel like I don't think we're stronger than we were at the end of the season. From what I've seen, and I know it's just friendlies. I know it's friendlies, right? But they haven't really felt like friendlies. They felt quite competitive, especially the Seville game and the Roma game. And so, like, I'm a little bit worried. You know, we signed Jed Spence, he didn't get to kick a ball. So he's bottom of the pecking order on the right wing back. So we haven't strengthened there then. We haven't. We still need another centre back because Rodon and Sanchez and Tanganga just aren't good enough if they're still at the club. If they're not, then we definitely need somebody. I wouldn't say we've massively improved in the centre back. We've maybe got somebody of equitable cover in Longley and Davies. They're about as good as each other. We'll find out though, right? We'll find out. Richarlison, I really haven't been impressed with. I don't know what you guys feel about him. I know he's only had a few minutes here and there, but he did one little clever turn, twist and turn in like the 85th minute of the game yesterday. Apart from that, really haven't seen anything to get really pumped about or excited about. Bissouma, I know, like I say, I know he's a fantastic player. Really happy to see him coming to Tottenham. I know he's going to settle in. I know it's early, so I'm not worried about him. But I don't think our midfield looks any really different from what I've seen. And I'm only going on what I've seen. The chemistry hasn't worked there yet. And we're still struggling to break those teams down that sit back. And Perisic looks good, but we've only seen a little bit of him, and I'm very happy with what Perisic has shown. So I just don't feel like... I'm underwhelmed, guys, you know? Like, I spent the first month of the summer going... Do you remember it was a few weeks ago, I was having these conversations with guys on the channel. How, thus far, the window's got to be a 7 out of 10. You know, and everyone else was saying, no, it's a 5 out of 10. I'm inclined to think now, if I'm entirely honest, I'm inclined to say it's a 5 out of 10. Like, it's pretty overrated for me. What are your thoughts? Am I being overly pessimistic? Should we take it all with a pinch of salt? If so, then what's the point of pre-season friendlies? You know, as content creators, we have to react to what we see and give our takes on it. I don't know. Tough games. Roma, Seville, Rangers, and the K-League. All different styles. All very interesting. I just don't think that the side that I've seen in pre-season is really anything better. We haven't changed our abilities from what I've seen so far. We haven't improved in our ability really. We're still as good at what we are always good at, and we're still as shaky at everything that we're always as shaky at. And then I look at bloody Arsenal, and they go and smash Seville 4-0, and they look like a different beast. Again, only friendlies, so pinch of salt, but got to call a spade a spade. To me, they look like they have something has tweaked in their system, that there is a bit of a chemistry and a new energy into their football. All very interesting. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts on what I've spoken about, and how do you feel going into Saturday? You know, and even if we do go and sign another forward this week or another centre back this week, you know, they're not going to be ready for Southampton. They're not going to be ready for Chelsea. So I don't know. I think it's pretty clear to me that the starting 11 would be something like Hugo Lloris in goal, Perisic. I think, unfortunately, Sanchez will probably start at left-sided centre-back, Dyer and Romero. And then on the right, I think you're going to see Doherty. And then in the midfield, I think you're going to see Højbjerg with Bissouma. But I would rather see Bentancur start. And I'm not sure why he isn't starting in these pre-season friendlies. And I think, obviously, up front, you're going to see the same three, Sonny, Kane and Kulusevski. So, I don't know, to me it's a bit underwhelmed, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Hi, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you tomorrow for a live stream. Not sure what time yet. We'll talk about whatever's going on. Love you guys. Like, share and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And as always, guys, as always,